Hey, everybody, welcome to another Bourbon and Blockchain Happy Hour. Can't wait to talk to all of you tonight. I'm here with the three amigos, myself, Draco, Myron Musk. Myron Musk, how you doing?
Doing good. Just dumped the Twitter deal, so I have more time now to come onto podcasts and things like that.
Nice. Well, we appreciate it. We know you're busy, so it's good to see you, sir. And Mr. Maverick, how are you?
Man, I'm wonderful. I'm admiring Myron Musk's hairline because it looks very familiar but a little disoriented. So good job, Myron. That's awesome, man.
This was a very well done portrait. I paid couple $100,000 for it.
Is that a
I,
Beeple
I love
NFT?
it.
Did Beeple create that for you?
One and only, man.
Yep. Well, good to see you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So how's, let's talk about the bear market real quick. I mean, how are you guys doing in the bear market? Is the bear market affecting you greatly? Did you guys know this was coming? Were you prepared for it? How is it? How are you guys feeling about this bear market?
Myron, you want to take this one first?
Hold up, I was crying a little bit. Let me get my composure back. But
Oh no.
no, no, I felt okay. So I was kind of bearish towards the end of the last year, and I sold out most of my stuff around I think December. But then you got these fake pumps that I actually went in, bought some stuff, and bought some NFTs. That's I don't know NFTs, so that was a bad decision for me. So I'm down pretty a lot on NFTs. Of course, you know with the recent drop, Strong, which is one of also my big projects. But honestly, I could have been hurt worse than I'm hurt right now. And it is what it is. I still have my job. I'm still able to eat, still have a place to live. So it's painful to lose money, but it's not the end of the world. And I know that this is probably maybe in our lifetimes one of the greatest opportunity if the market really drops to buy some stuff that will set us up for in the future. And the longer it lasts, I guess it gives us a little bit of time to build up more capital to take advantage of the drop.
That's a great way to think about it, and I like your insight. So it sounds like you're taking it all in stride, and not letting it beat you up too much. What about you, Mr. Maverick?
Yeah, so this is the first bear cycle I've ever been through, at least in the crypto market. So there's a learning curve. I think we've all experienced it, and I don't think that anyone's immune either. Even if you've been through it before, you just may be a little bit wiser and more prepared. But it seems like we're so short-sighted in crypto, right? It's
Hmm.
easy to forget what just happened a week ago sometimes. So yeah, just keeping your eye, like zooming out, not just focusing on the day, but zooming out and realize what you're really looking at. If you believe in the future use case, like I think we all do, otherwise we wouldn't be here, then like just buy your time. Just chill out, learn as much as you can. Maybe learn a different way of of passively investing versus maybe the ways that you were before. Like you mentioned, NFTs. I struggle to, Myron. Grown pretty close with David and Nari and members of the Bourbon and Blockchain group that are kind of two specialists, I would say, in our group. And they're kind of showing me some things that otherwise, without their help, I would have never known. So just I encourage everybody. I'm kind of taking the philosophy. Just I'm going to absorb all these different facets so that I can be a little bit more nimble with my decisions in the future.
Yeah, I was going to say that you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I think I'm glad that I'm going through this as a learning experience so that hopefully I can retain a lot of this information into the future so that I can help future me with investments, right? Because I didn't really know that it was going to come like this. I hadn't experienced it yet. And to be honest with you, there's things that we're learning as a market. For example, having a two-party or a third-party custodian, a trusted custodian. We are learning now that nobody should be trusted with your funds, not the bank, not a foreign entity, not a government, and definitely not an exchange or somebody that's giving you a loan, right? All of these people are going to just take your money when given the chance, or the slight chance that there's something going on volatile in the market. They're going to find a way to have your money taken away from you. So we're learning all the time, and one of the things I think we're learning from this current bear market is that you never trust a second or third party custodian.
Yep, I
Yep.
agree. I
And
agree.
one
I've
thing
been
I
seeing a lot.
remember. Oh yeah, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Maverick.
No,
No,
I was
this
just going
was
to
kind of
say
off topic.
No, I was going to say I've seen a lot of reminders, even on crypto Twitter, right? Like people just learning the hard way, things getting stolen, and securing your funds in your own personal wallet
Yep.
is ground zero. That's what you need to do. Do not leave it on exchanges. And there's some that I trust in, I believe in, and I'm probably guilty of it from time to time, leaving it there. But it only takes one major accident or somebody to intrude upon their protocol in some form or fashion, and they shut it down, and you cannot touch it, and you're at risk of losing it. It's just not
Yep.
worth the risk.
And I think one of two things: either we're leaving it on there because it's convenient, which is going to lead right into the second one, laziness. We cannot be lazy with our own money. We have to protect our own money. If you don't protect it, somebody else will try to take it, right? So we just have to be very vigilant and remind each other, it just takes a few extra steps to send those funds to a hard wallet. Don't keep it on an exchange. It's too risky in this environment.
That's right.
And
Good
what were you going to
advice.
say, Myron Musk?
I was gonna say that this bear market really opens, I guess, my eye a lot versus, this is the first one I've been through when I actually cared about the market. Like back in the day, I'm just like, dude, I just have 401k, leaving it, never looking at it. And now I'm actually looking at it. And to go through it, especially in crypto, for the drop to be a lot bigger than the stock market. And I think one thing that I do remember you mentioned back in the day, I have to bring this up again, but you were saying that because a lot of people are quitting the jobs just because they have a couple of strong nodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember you saying that you want to see what strong does in a bear market before you make a decision like that.
Yep.
And the thing is, well, now we're seeing it, and now I guess even the people back in the day, I think people were quitting. They had like 5 nodes or 10 nodes. Like, oh man, that's like 40, 50, whatever amount of dollars every single year. And now even the people with hundreds, I mean, you're not making anything. So it's really a eye opener. I think I was talking to Maverick today. I was saying, man, like actually back in the day, I actually believed that hundreds of thousands of APY is actually possible. Like
Right.
that doesn't make any sense now looking back. But
Right.
but we've never been through it. But so when the next cycle comes, you can get into things like that, right? But now we know it's like, okay, this is just a short ride. It's probably gonna drop back because it always does. So we're gonna take profits, we can get in, and I think it'll just be a lot better going to the next bull cycle. We'll just know a lot better, be able to get out more out of it.
Yeah, I agree. If we take all the knowledge that we've all learned as a large group and apply it to the future, whatever the next thing is, whether it's node season or DAO season or whatever the next season is, hopefully we have enough knowledge and experience to take advantage of it and not get wrecked. And, ideally that's the whole purpose of being in these groups, is to learn from each other and, go down that path. Now, specifically, we'll quickly look at Bitcoin because obviously that's what's moving the market and taking everything with it. Today, the opening trading day started off somewhere up around $21,000, and it closed down here around 19,900. And we've seen wicks that have dropped all the way down to like 19,800. So we're seeing kind of a downward path here. But if you look at it, it just kind of looks like we're doing some sideways chop here. Some of which are saying that this could be a bull flag, or I'm sorry, a bear flag, or a bear pennant. So it could either break up or break down. And if you look at the history that we're going in, like the current trajectory that we're in, having it break down seems to be a little bit more reasonable than breaking up. But we've also heard a lot of people talking about you can't continue to go down like this without having more relief. So there could be a potential relief rally as well. So right now, I think the best thing to do is to kind of sit on the sidelines and wait, not make any huge decisions in the short term. What do you guys think about that?
I agree. And the thing is, the biggest thing this week is the CPI report that's coming out on Wednesday.
Yep.
And I think, Draco, you told me that it's 96% of whatever analysts are saying that's going to be worse than we had last time. And I feel like if it just comes in better, like lower than what we had, we might get a rally, maybe get sold off quick. But the bulls are looking for any reason they can find to have a rally.
Yep.
Even if it's a bear market, short-lived rally. So the Gareth guy that we talked about back in the days, the guy that's been calling for like Bitcoin under 20,000, what was like 69,000. Actually, I watched a recent video of him. He's calling for Bitcoin to bounce up to 25,000.
Yeah,
Of
for the
course,
short-term relief rally.
yes. So maybe that's gonna happen. And right now, honestly, it's not doing really much of anything. It's in a range, and you could say it's a bull flag. I think that's what if you call the technicals. But I think the market is just essentially just waiting on the Wednesday CPI to see what's gonna happen to it.
What do you think, Mr. Maverick?
Yeah, so nobody knows what's going to happen. First of all, I hope no one listens to this and is like, "Ooh, no, I'm not going to buy because those guys on Bourbon-n-Blockchain said I shouldn't." But I will tell you that all indications point to there's a lot of fear in the market still, and usually there's indication like the fear is going to let up eventually. And at this point in time, I turn on the news, it's nothing but negativity, right? It's the market's crashing, all-time inflation high, maybe even worse than what we thought. Interest rates continually going up, middle class slowly diminishing, political unrest. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so I feel like this is going to continue a little while longer, right? And I really feel like it's inside, deep down inside, I think it's going to trace along with inflation. I really do. I think once inflation starts letting up, once these monthly hikes of 0.75% or whatever they are, 75 points, kind of add up and we start seeing the impact, I think then I would start feeling more comfortable. Just at this point in time, if I was going to drop a bag somewhere, I think it would be Staples, unless you're good at short-term trading, and which I'm not.
Yeah, absolutely. Which we encourage people to learn and bring that knowledge back to the group. One of the guys that help us out a lot is I Am Groot. I Am Groot posts charts all the time in our group, and he's just a wealth of knowledge. And he understands charting and crypto way more than I do. And it's a blessing to have him in our group. So thank you for that, by the way, I Am Groot. And before we move on, I just want to point out, we're not financial advisors. We're just observing the market and telling you what we see. This is just an open discussion. But something that I wanted to bring to your attention, I heard a really good perspective, and I think it might have actually been Gareth Soloway. What he said was, this is the market and the way that these type of markets work. They're savage. They're savage AF. And what they're going to do is, if we did get that relief rally, like he's saying, up to 25 to 28,000, the whole purpose of that relief rally is to dupe retail investors and make them think we're going back to the moon and create FOMO. And make them want to buy back into Bitcoin. And oh man, I missed the bottom at 18 or 19K. I got to buy in at 25. I got to buy in at 26 because it's going to go back to the moon. They call this a relief bounce. And after that happens, the market is so savage, they're going to take all that liquidity and we're going to go to lower lows because all that money is going to get dragged out of the economy of Bitcoin or crypto. So, like, this is not the first time these type of patterns have happened in the past. This type of environment exists, in past. So we got to be able to recognize those things and look at those potentials. Now, it might not happen. We might go from $19,915 straight up to 100K. But the reality of that in this current macro environment economically, I just don't think that that's something to be worried about right now. I think we're going to be in these ranges for a while.
I agree with that. Actually, I feel like the market always finds a way to screw the most people over. And there's a theory called Max Payne theory that says they always find a spot for the stock where it makes most options expire worthless. That's a theory. So a lot of this thing, I feel like right now, a lot of retail are probably getting bearish, calling for downsides. And we're just going to get a face melting rally, make them force cover the position, maybe go long, then we're going to drop wing and get those people again. And that's what the market does. And that's, the people who have money to do this. But the thing is, I think it's just like, this is just how the market kind of works. And the thing, the retail, they call it the weak longs, weak shorts. Those are people that can get shaken out. And just trading the market, like if you don't really know how to trade, if you don't really, understand it that much, yes, you can learn, but either don't touch it or just leave it alone. If you have conviction, just leave it alone.
Absolutely.
Come out better that way.
Well, this brings us to a quick tweet that we wanted to bring up really quick, and I wanted to discuss what you guys think about this. So Bloomberg posted that Bitcoin is more likely to tumble to 10K, cutting its value in half, roughly then a rally back to 30K. This is a survey of investors, and it included people in Wall Street. So my question for you is, what do you like? Let's look at this and make an analysis of this, not just on what's being said here, but why, right? Typically, when you have big investors in Wall Street saying that something's going to go to zero, right? That could be very bullish because that means that they're in the market to buy. We see this time and time again. Do you think that this is bullish for Bitcoin, or do you guys think that this is bearish for Bitcoin in the future?
Oh, this all kind of boils down to perspective, and I would imagine this was a large group of people, correct? So
yeah, I think so. I don't remember the
assume,
number.
Yeah, so I mean, with that being said, I think fear being at an all-time high makes people believe maybe a little more extreme than what they would normally. Could they be right? Yeah, maybe, but I just have a hard time believing that they're going to nail that type of honestly, when it comes to giving price predictions, right? And we see it all the time. We see, oh, we can expect this, or you should expect this, or I believe this is going to happen. I just kind of laugh, and I'm like, it's not about the price, it's about what's going on, right? There are events that take place that create FOMO or create fear, right? So that's what I'm looking at, is what are those events? What are we looking for macroeconomically to where the world, the financial systems throughout the world start shifting to be a little bit more positive than they are now? Because right now, we're in the U.S., but across the world, it's even worse. Inflation in most countries is way worse than ours, right?
Yep.
Scarcity of supplies, way worse in some than ours. So I don't know. I'm looking for those indicators. I'm not looking at price. Who knows how far it could drop? It really depends on what happens, right?
Right. No, that's a good way to look at it. What about you, Mr. Musk?
Pump Bitcoin. I bought it at 30,000. Now I'm back holding, and Tesla's down, man. Like I need Bitcoin to go back to 60K again. No, but I think this article, I kind of agree with you what you're saying, Draco. That whatever they report, the opposite is probably going to happen. But right now, the way I kind of look at this crypto market, I'm more so paying more attention to the stock market, because this kind of follows it. Like stock market doesn't follow cryptos. Crypto follows stock market.
Right.
And stock market, for the most part, it follows the macroeconomics of things. And what I see is, I think there could still be a drop. I'm hoping personally for a short rally, for SPY to go back to the 400s again, or 420, whatever it is. And at that point, I'll probably be unloading. This is not advice, financial advice. It's what I would be doing. I will be selling, and there will be a drop. I feel like, but eventually, I do think that inflation maybe will cool down a little bit, good way or bad way. That eventually the Federal Reserve will pivot, which will lead to a going back, maybe trigger bull market again. But when that's going to happen, maybe towards the end of this year, or maybe it will take longer than that. So I'm not touching Bitcoin right now. I don't want to short it at this level, and I don't want to long it at this level. But if it goes down to 10,000, I'll probably pick up some. If it does go down there.
Yeah, I personally think that what this is lazy like perspective, right? This is lazy, introspection from all these different people. People are hearing somebody say Bitcoin's going to 10K, and they're just regurgitating it without any facts or knowledge. Okay. Anybody, a monkey can sit there and say Bitcoin's going to 10K, but where are you getting that information? How are you, coming up with that number, and what is going to drive it to that price? Personally, I think that the 10K price range is like the maximum downside, right? I don't think they'll get there personally. And again, not financial advice. I think that everybody's going to wait for 10K. It's never going to get there. It's going to get maybe close, maybe 12, 13, or 14K. And then it'll never get to that 10K. And that's where people have to FOMO in and drive the price up, because it'll never get down that low. I just don't think it will. I think it'll get low. I just don't see it going that low, but people are going to be wanting it to. They want it to get to 10K, just like they want it to go to 100K. Remember all those people that were holding their bags at 69 and 68K when all the market indicators were saying that the market needed to cool off and it was overbought. Well, they all wanted it to go to 100K. And people were saying, we just don't have the momentum, we don't have the volume, but they wanted it. They really wanted 100K, and it didn't happen. And then they had to sell their bags at a lower amount, or they bought in at a high amount thinking it was going to continue to go higher. You got to read the charts. You got to listen to the people that know a lot more than you. Look at the macroeconomics. Look at everything. Don't just make a decision because you want it. You're trying to will it to get to a certain price. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I think just have to have a plan. And there's people that I watch, I feel like, on YouTube that's very knowledgeable, and his plan is just, I'm going to hold Bitcoin forever, and that's fine too. But he just got to have a plan, right? So when Bitcoin's dropping like this, he's not panicking. He's not losing sleep over it. But whatever you do, it's all those people that doesn't really have a solid stand. They're not standing. They don't really have a solid belief. Just listen to this person, listen to that person. That's panicking. This person is bullish. They buy, and then suddenly it's bearish. They sell. And it's just taking losses left and right, taking loss on the long side, taking loss on the short side. And that's how you get messed up, really.
Absolutely.
So I think just have a conviction, have a plan with what you're going to be doing. And right now, I do want to have Bitcoin, but I just feel like, if I believe the market is going to come down more, and then if I can average slowly buy a little bit now, but if I buy it, then I'm kind of not playing towards what I believe in. If I believe it's going to go down more, then I'm just going to follow. I could be wrong, right? This could be the bottom, but at least I'll admit I'm wrong once it happens.
Right.
So I just have a plan.
I agree, Myron. Like I feel like some of us are all about preservation of capital too, so that we can leverage that later on. But other people aren't looking just to leverage capital; they're looking to invest over time. So, just a word to the wise: we're not saying like this is a bad time to invest. We're just saying have a plan about the way you do it, and have some conviction ahead of time, and know that Bitcoin typically is a longer term hold. Do we believe in it? Do we believe it'll reach all-time highs again? I think we all agree, yes, but we don't know how long. Some of us may want to preserve more capital than others, and others, if your plan is the dollar cost average over time, then by all means stick to your plan.
Lose.
Yeah, you can't. What is it? Time in the market beats timing the market most of the time. That's just the way it is. So take every perspective with a grain of salt, no matter where you hear it from. Whatever you're convicted to do, just stick to your plan, right? And seek wise counsel if you really need it, and other people that you trust.
Absolutely. And, that brings us into our next topic here. We're going to talk about proof of stake gives Ethereum the economic structure to overtake Bitcoin, says DeFi researcher. Now, I want to go ahead and say that this is a good article, but this has been talked about over and over and over and over again. And I think that what people need to realize is that they are two completely different projects. Like the whole reason why they exist are for two different reasons. Ethereum is based as a smart contract economy, right? That is used for utility and working with other contracts and apps and dApps and integrating with financial systems and all types of stuff like that. NFTs, a marketplace, all of that stuff. Where Bitcoin specifically was created as a global currency that is a store of value, a precious commodity, right? Or a precious or rare property that you can own and not have to sell, or that you can take custody of. So they are two different things. But with that being said, this article is talking about how potentially Ethereum could take it over. What do you think about this? We'll go ahead and talk to Mr. Musk one more time and have you give us your opinion on this, sir.
I'm not that bullish on Ethereum. I'll say this. And I think going to proof of stake makes it just like any other ones. Like, what's the difference between? Of course, you'll say, "Oh, it's the first one. It's one of the best, one of the most solid, whatever it is." But what's the difference between this now and Sol and I guess ADA and all these different things? So I don't think the flipping is gonna happen. And I think you mentioned it so well, Draco, that these two things are very different. I think Bitcoin is more so it holds the value, and people want to use it as a hedge, even though it's not acting like a hedge right now. And Ethereum is more like this kind of tech side. And with the tech, you can always get better tech. But can you say that can there be better storage of value, it's kind of hard at this point to come up with a crypto that does that, because whatever crypto we come up with now, I think one, it doesn't have the, they always say be the first in the market. Being the first in the market, the first mover advantage is always the best, and Bitcoin is the first mover, or at least the first mover that really got big. So I think in the future, 10, 20 years, can there be something that overtakes Ethereum? Probably. But in terms of Bitcoin, if you want it really decentralized, I don't see anything else that can really overtake it, unless the government just say, hey, we're banning everything. We're only using the centralized currencies. And at that time, if that happens, then all this doesn't really matter anymore.
Right.
And I think there'll still be a black market, whatever it is, for Bitcoin. So this is good. Is the moving to proof of stake good for Ethereum? Maybe the people are saying that for the big people with a lot of money and whales, they don't have to run this miners and things like that. They can just have a bunch of Ethereum, just get rewards that way. But now it just feels like it's making Ethereum kind of centralized. And what's the difference between this and all the other ones that people are pushing?
Good point. Good point. Yeah, I do. I want to point out that one of the reasons why. So I think what they're doing is they're taking an economic function of Ethereum and they're extrapolating it here, right? So currently, right now, Ethereum is inflating at 4.3% per year. That's a lot. 4.3% is actually really high. If you had an Ethereum validator node and you were getting 7% in rewards, you're actually only getting 3% because of this inflation, right? So something to consider there. When the ETH 2.0 goes online, it's going to drop that to 0.22%, which is going to make it, they're actually going to burn more Ethereum due to transactions than they're going to create. Okay. So the point here is everybody used to say, don't invest into Ethereum back when it was like, when there was like 30 cryptos, right? And people would hate on Ethereum and say, don't buy it because there's an infinite amount of it. This is going to solve that problem, and it's going to be built into Ethereum 2.0. So instead of there being an infinite amount, now it's going to become deflationary, hypothetically. Now, that's, I think, the reason why people are saying that it can overtake Bitcoin. I don't think that we can all argue that Ethereum is by far and away the most powerful smart contract platform. It has the most developers, it has the most projects, it has the most support, it's most widely used, it's the easiest to use, and most people use Ethereum before any other platform, and then most of them don't want to learn how to use other ones because there's a finite learning curve to other blockchains. So I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, but I don't think it's going to flip the value of Bitcoin. I think that they'll always be rivals, like stepbrothers. But I don't think that it'll be able to, gain that much evaluation in the market and overtake Bitcoin. At least not anytime soon. It would take, a long, long, long time to do that if it stays the number one platform.
Yep, totally agree. I mean, it's like the difference between chicken and steak. They may still both be protein, but they're definitely different, right? So, I think it's funny anytime we see an article where they're like, oh, the flippening, because this is not the first time. This has been going on for years now. People anticipating, trying to build FOMO, trying to, promote it. Hey, look, two way different purposes. So I just, now, I do think I'm a little bit more bullish on ETH than probably Mr. Musk is. But I will say I am fearful, and I'm fearful because as they transition to a POS, there's a lot that could go wrong. And when things go wrong in crypto, the market reacts, and it reacts significantly. So I would, of course, I would be very, I would be all hands on deck. I would be watching the market very closely as this is happening, because we've seen big things and transitions go badly in the past. And it just takes one wrong move, one issue, and the market just overreacts. So just be prepared is what I would say as we approach that time.
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and move on to the next topic. The next topic is crypto miners in Texas shut down operations as state experiences extreme heat wave. This is a very good article, and Mr. Maverick, we'll start with you. What do you think about this topic here about these mining companies shutting down to preserve energy?
It's hot. It's so hot right now. Texas is miserable. I can't even begin to describe it, right? It doesn't surprise me, unfortunately. There's areas all over the country. It's not just Texas that are prone to. It's typically these areas where it's highly congested. There's a lot of populace, and they have to do blackouts. Now, I will say it does surprise me a little bit because Texas is probably the last state that I would think where they have to shut things like this down. So when I saw this article at first, I was kind of surprised by it, right? But at the same time, it also draws, I don't know, it draws your attention just to think through, hey, look, this is technology. And this technology requires energy in order to run it. So infrastructure absolutely matters. Still, very, very surprised by this article myself.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
heard,
I don't think a lot of people understand. Like, so one person that is a big voice for crypto, um, is Mr. Wonderful, right? Mr. Wonderful talks about
That's
this
right.
all the time, and what he says is these mining companies are actually making the power grid stronger. Well, how are they making it stronger, Draco? That doesn't make any sense. Well, they're going to demand more power and higher efficiency power from these outlets and from these providers. And then when they have all of this power, if the rest of the area needs it, for example, during these heat waves, they can start to throttle back their usage. And now the power's already there. It's very difficult to create more power when you don't have it because you're at max capacity. It's much easier to increase the maximum capacity to to withstand these huge operations, and then lower the amount of power that those operations are utilizing and distribute that power back out to the community. Now you have available power that's readily available, and that's one of the things that they're showing, and these crypto companies are saying they're not like 100% taking ownership for it, but if you think about it, they are strengthening the infrastructure for power by having all of this power that's available. And I think that's greatly bullish, hugely bullish for crypto.
I
It's
heard
too
they're
much.
rationing power in Texas. They're talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Just in Austin.
Rationing water and power, man. You guys are like third world country, man. Move out.
Nope. Freedom.
When it's too cold, you guys can't handle it, and now when it's too hot, you guys can't handle it, man.
Oh.
Truth.
Yeah, I think as this continues and as Bitcoin and all of these mining facilities become even more green energy, they'll be able to push eventually down the road. They'll be able to inject power back to these huge power companies. Think about that. So let's say that you have a mining facility and your mining facility is powered by turbine, from like a, you're next to like a waterfall and you're using a generator, a turbine generator, and solar. And let's say that the local community is having issues with their power, you can actually shut down a percentage of their operations and push that power back to the grid so that the huge companies, the power companies, can utilize that power for the community. I think that's what's going to be a huge win for crypto if they continue to go down that path.
I agree, Draco. I do. Interesting article. Something I'd
Absolutely.
never thought I would see.
Yeah. And we've talked about the flare gas and stuff. So it's great to utilize a whole bunch of energy that we don't need, but to take that energy and push it back out to these communities, that's going the next step further. That's what these projects need to do. That's what these mining companies need to do. That's what makes the whole thing more bullish, in my opinion.
Yep.
For this next topic, this is a big one for Mr. Musk here, but we'll get into it. U.S. government officials holding crypto are prohibited from working on industry policies. This is about the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I mean, but you know what? I'm not surprised. It's something that you would 100% expect for these entities to make a decision like this, but I just can't fathom the stupidity. So ultimately, what they're saying is if you're involved in making industry policies, or if you're involved in making industry laws, they're trying to say that you can't participate in those conversations or get involved in that because you own crypto, and that makes you like you would like pump your own bags type of thing. Your decisions would be swayed based on your holdings. there's other ways to go about this. But why would you have people that don't know anything about crypto work on industry policies and laws revolving or related to crypto? It makes absolutely no
It's
sense.
so ignorant, right? Like you just, yeah, it absolutely kind of baffles me that they would think that the wise thing to do is to remove the people that actually have some real world knowledge from the discussion. And these type of policies, I really hope this doesn't happen, but it's these type of policies that end up creating stupid regulations that don't make sense, right? It is. So when I saw this, I couldn't help but just laugh.
What do you think, Mr. Musk? How do you think that this will affect people's decisions, or people that are working in this? Because some of the people they talk about here, the people that are involved in this club, are the people that are fighting for crypto. That's what I hate. Is I feel like this is a direct shot at people that are trying to support the crypto industry, such as Pat
Absolutely.
Toomey in Pennsylvania, Ted Cruz of Texas. Again, Texas is probably it probably at this point is the state for crypto. I feel like it's starting to overrun Miami and all these other states that said that they were pro crypto. Texas is putting their money where their mouth is, and I think they're more pro crypto than any other state. And Congressman Mark Green and all of these people. So now these people that have been involved from the beginning and actually understand it, you're trying to exclude them from making decisions. What do you think about that?
You have to think of this in a way by looking at the greatest trader of our time, and that's Nancy Pelosi. And what she does is all these decisions, and she votes on it, and then she makes a big profit off of it, right? So what really you need to do is you get Nancy Pelosi to get into crypto somehow, man. And once that gets in, she's like, oh, dude, yeah, we need this. We need crypto, man. We really need to load up. I think this is good for our country. This is good for the future. But honestly, yeah. But in all seriousness, this is stupid because you're taking all the people who are for crypto. You're taking all the people who have knowledge of crypto, and the people who don't have crypto are probably the bears, who probably the one that just doesn't want to learn about it, or just very have negative views about it. I mean, if you like crypto, if you think this, there's some potential for it in the future, you probably have some exposure to it, especially when you're in the government. You're probably fairly well off. Diversification, you probably will have some in there, but this saying if you have any crypto, does it say what is it specific?
Anything outside of stable coins, that's pretty much it. Everything, because they're not going to be qualified as publicly traded securities, so everything else is banned.
This is such a hypocrites, I think, because they trade on inside stuff all the time, and Federal Reserve trade on inside information all the time. There's a bunch of Fed chairs that got in trouble because they're buying stocks or selling stocks based on stuff they know. They never really got in trouble. Maybe a slap on the wrist, but this is absolutely ridiculous.
And this is do as I say, not as I do. Like you were bringing up, like it's a joke. There's so many congressmen and women that are involved in the stock market, in the manipulation of the stock market and stocks. For example, one of the biggest people to talk about would be Nancy Pelosi. So if you can't engage or own any crypto while you're involved in the politics of that, then you shouldn't be a congressman and own stocks and all of that. You shouldn't be able to trade while you're serving as a public servant. Wouldn't that be the same thing? So if you're currently invested in all of that, kick them out. They shouldn't be able to do that because they're part of insider information and they're involved in stock manipulation. Is that not different?
Yep. No, I mean, this is really frustrating, Draco. When you read this, it's very frustrating. So nothing about it makes sense. It doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem right. We all know that there's people taking advantage of the system politically, right? And building wealth outside of the normal bounds that you and I are able to, because we lack the knowledge. So everything about it just makes me uncomfortable, right? It's not right. Nothing about it.
Everybody can look at that and say that doesn't make any sense, right? So as they say, do as I say, not as I do, and we'll see how these policies turn out. I think that was the government ethics board saying that that's what they suggest, but I think that could be voted on and overturned. So hopefully that does happen. And for our last article or conversation topic, we're going to talk to Mr. Musk about Elon pulling out. So we're going to go ahead and get
Wait,
some more
Elon
stuff
pulls
on.
out? What are you talking
Yeah.
about, man?
Well, you do have 9 kids, so obviously you're not pulling out very often, but more recently you did. So we'll give the floor to you, Mr. Musk. Go ahead and tell us your story.
All right. Let me see if I'm sharing. Is it sharing right now? Do you see it?
Hold on, I'm pulling it up. It's just coming up slow, but yeah, it's coming up.
My internet is so bad right now. Okay. So if you look on this is the Twitter chart. Elon, I think, it's been loading up around this area, and this is when it got announced that he's gonna buy Twitter. He made it public, and of course, I think there's some drama here. It dropped, but now it dropped really hard because he officially came out and says, "Oh, wait, never mind. We're backing out on the deal." And now he's getting a lawyer team ready to really fight this case. And the Twitter is getting ready because, like, dude, we actually want to sell it to you at 54.20, which is way overvalued for what it is. And people are saying, like, if you look at Twitter and versus the Snapchat dropped hard. Twitter was kind of up because Elon Musk, said he was going to buy it. But this is if Elon Musk didn't say he was going to buy it, just waited, Twitter is probably going to be in the $20 range right now, rather than in the $33, and he wanted to buy at 54.20. And the lawyer that he got, I don't know. Okay, so by the way, I can say all this because I'm Myron Musk, man. This is not bullying. This is just talking about myself, okay? But the lawyer that he's getting, I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was Thailand that had the earthquake and a bunch of kids got trapped. And he said he was going to do a submarine to rescue those kids.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, no, because like human body can barely squeeze through that hole. A submarine is not going to do anything. And Elon Musk got really mad, called the guy a pedo guy, and had this whole lawsuit over it. And he won. People said the guy sued him for defamation, whatever. Elon Musk won. He has the same lawyer working on this case now. And his excuse why it wasn't bad because he says it's a common saying in South Africa when he's young. So like it's not an insult. It's like, dude, it's so ridiculous. But so anyone that believed in Elon bought around this point, let's see how much you're losing. We don't even need to measure from top. I'll just go from the day that it was announced. You're down 35%.
Dang.
And if you bought, again, this is another one that I believe was pumped by him. Essentially, it was all pumped by him. So that little yellow circle right there, that's when he went on SNL for Dogecoin. And if he got that drop from there, is 90% down, man. So people can say they're fans of Elon or whatever, but I think him pumping these made some people rich, probably his inner circle of friends, and especially, dude, I know his brother, Kimball Musk, is a huge player in Tesla. There's speculation that he comes into Tesla, buys these weekly call options, like buys a huge amount of weekly call options. And when it pushes stock price up, then he dumps it. Then anyone who's chasing that move now gets wrecked. This is speculation. It's not proven. SEC knows who it is, but they don't care because they're protecting it because I think a lot of people are investing into Tesla. But man, I think a lot of people got hurt because of all this nonsense, man.
No, I agree. My question would be, and one of the mainstream narratives that I've seen is that part of the reason why this is happening is because Twitter has failed to appropriately document how many bots and things that they've had, and because of that, they're not staying within the constraints of the actual agreement, because they said that they only had about 5% of bots, and he knew that it was much higher, and they're failing to answer his questions. They're like being evasive. So with that being said, I think that could be part of it as well. Is he wants to force them to go into court and say, here's how many bots we actually have.
That's what he's saying. I think what happened is, so
he realized that it's not a good deal.
April.
Do you feel like he's using this as a platform to also expose them? It's not just about the investment.
Stop. Okay, we'll see this in the years to come. but he's not the hero that you deserve. Okay,
You're
he's
not the hero. You're not the hero I deserve.
But let me show you this. So around April, this is when Tesla was still $1,000. That's when he said he wanted to buy Twitter. Okay, and there's a lot of people in Twitter. We know Twitter is very controlled. Twitter, is leaning to a certain direction, and there's a lot of people with a lot of money that wants it to remain that way. So when he bought, a lot of people start shorting Tesla, and when he dropped from 1,000 to all the way down to like low 600s, dude, his net worth got wiped out a lot, and now the whole deal of him trying to sell Tesla shares and stuff like that to get Twitter just got a lot more expensive. You got to sell a lot more shares. So I think we can say he's looking back and say, oh, it's all because we're releasing information. I'm doing this big brain move 10 steps ahead of Twitter that I'm going to make them release how much bots they actually have. I think it's more so just like he said the price. Tesla's dropped way more than he expected. He looks back, he's like, wait, I could pay like $20 for Twitter, but I said $54.20 because I tried to meme, and now I don't want to pay that much. I don't want to sell that much stock. And now he's like, okay, I don't want to buy it. I don't want to do this. Dude, this is I think he said he was just gonna buy it as it is. I don't know. I didn't really read the whole thing. I don't really care about it. But dude, it's just ridiculous. He needs
I get your analysis that he's trying to save himself from a bad buy, which that could be part of it too, is part of the reason why he's saying that they're not fulfilling their end of the agreement, because now they might be able to draft new portions of the agreement because they're lying, right? Or they're not disclosing
the valuations are going to be much lower, right?
Oh,
based off the information.
He's my Dark Knight, Myron.
I found this.
He's my Dark Knight.
See, look, I'm the only fodder in here because you guys are a bunch of Elon fans. That's fine. I was an Elon fan before, but let me show you something.
You still are secretly. You love him.
Let me show you something that will maybe open up your eyes a little bit on who Elon really is, or at least he overpromises a lot of stuff that he doesn't deliver. Okay, I found this site called Broken Promises, Elon's Broken Promises, and this is not anything. It's just taking his tweets and see if he actually delivered. And he tweets a lot of stuff. Okay.
Oh, so
he says on July 2017 we can reach 20,000 Model 3s. Didn't happen. Then there's here, I'll show you the some other ones, but you can take a look at this.
I remember the autopilot things. I remember that he's been promising that for a long time.
Years ago, he's like, yeah, autopilot is gonna be out. So
hey, and it's still a $12,000 add-on too, and it's not even fully functioning.
I'll say one more thing. This is coming from a different perspective about Tesla. So there's only a certain people that buys Tesla, and those people are pretty wealthy, or they go into huge debt to buy in Tesla. Tesla's delivery numbers are way up because I think the demand was really up, and they really pushed the production to get that up. And when Tesla increases by like $5,000, $10,000, if they do the price increase, the rich people are still going to be able to afford Tesla. Like, it doesn't really affect them that much. But you increase like 5,000 or 3,000, whatever amount of dollars on like a Ford Focus or whatever, the people is going to feel it because the people who are buying those cars are a little bit lower income. So when price goes up for Tesla, you don't get that much like reduce in demand. So on the short term, it's like, okay, yeah, we're making so much more cars and things like that. But eventually, you can have these other companies that's able to come out and make their own EVs. The market is just going to be overflooded. Eventually, now they cannot meet the demand because Shanghai is pretty much like shut down, and like Germany shut down for like a couple of weeks, the gigafactories. So I think the number was just really pushed up during those COVID times and things like that. And eventually, dude, Tesla is worth like $200 or less. We'll see, right? I may be the dumbest guy fighting Byron Musk, but the thing is, we'll see in a couple of years if Elon truly becomes the hero that people wants him to be, or if he gets exposed for like as one of the biggest fraud ever in this industry. And that's something that's very interesting for me to see. We probably won't see it, in the near term, but eventually it will come out because a lot of stuff that he promises, man, like he's not able to deliver. Neuralink and stuff like that, putting things into your brain that cures.
I'm not bullish on that at all.
That's not how things work, man. Like the scientists are laughing at him. It's like people like Theranos, right? You guys know Theranos with Elizabeth Holmes, where one drop of blood you can do like hundreds of like different tests and stuff like that. Like the actual scientists, when they look at that, they're like, dude, that's not possible to do. And she only had like a couple semesters of college, and she's like able to make this crazy thing happen. If it's true that she can do it, it's like one of the best thing that can, that can happen, because you just prick your finger, get a drop of blood. You can do the test with, that needs like a whole bunch of blood. But all the scientists out there is like, dude, this is not true. But all the people that buying in to this company, Elizabeth Holmes Theranos, like they don't have any experience, they don't have any background in science, right? So I think a lot of people who are buying into this dream and things like that, they don't really understand it. Like, dude, Elon is a good salesman. I think he's just like Edison. And Edison's a salesman, not really an inventor. Did he invent stuff? Yes, but most of his stuff was invented by others. But we'll see this.
He did send a rocket up into space, and then it landed on its own. I'm just saying, and it does it consistently.
Yeah, but
he's my Dark Knight.
we'll see. Like people say, oh, dude, Elon's gonna go to Mars. His boring company is gonna dig tunnels in Mars. His Tesla is gonna have the transportation, and his AI system is gonna do everything. He has Neuralink that does dude, that's a cool future. Not to me, that's not a cool future to me, but I can see the appeal of that, right? Like you want something like that to happen. You want this whole the self-driving, or you want this AI, you want this whole, like he's so good at building this world, like a storyteller, a salesman. Maybe he's better salesman than Steve Jobs, man. But Steve Jobs, like he delivered, right? He delivered on stuff that he promised and things. Like I think last times when he comes with those like seminars and not seminars, those Apple meetings and stuff like that, like he surprises people with like, oh, like look, we're coming with this new thing. But Elon, I feel like it's like the opposite of Steve Jobs. It's like he's so good at selling, but he doesn't deliver, and that's the problem.
You mean like the time that you promised bulletproof glass and you smashed it on stage?
Yeah, that was a good one. That was my favorite. I really enjoyed that personally.
Not only once, but twice.
Come on, Maverick. It was bulletproof. It wasn't. He had a ball, man. That wasn't
exactly. That wasn't on its list of things it could prevent.
Man. Come on, man.
Well, he should have got a gun then. I don't know what to say.
Exactly.
He should have used the gun. Hey, I agree with yourself, Fudd. Mr. Musk, I agree with yourself, Fudd, but I want to just say one thing. I appreciate your witty tweets, man. They keep everybody entertained. So we're gonna follow you and we're gonna fudge you, but we appreciate
hopes and dream one more time. A lot of the memes he posts are really funny. I'll agree with that, but a lot of those are stolen without giving any credit to the person who made it.
Oh my God! Give him a break. Hey, you hate him so bad.
I'm just saying the meme.
He just had twins. Be happy for him.
Bitcoin is under 20,000. all this sadness, all this rage is gotta go somewhere. It's coming directly at Musk, man.
All right. Well, I guess we can end on that. Is Myron Musk hates himself, and apparently we should never trust him. So I mean,
right.
Maybe I think you got me on board a little bit, to be honest with you. I'm starting to question my own heroes. So
I am.
I don't know where we go from here.
I'm gonna have to go take a look at the full moon, or at least it looks full, and touch some grass after this because I'm feeling uncomfortable. Myron,
yeah,
good job.
I thought we were going to Mars together.
Hey, watch. One day Elon will make all this happen, and just remember, this was all a prank, man. It was just, I was just pranking you guys, man.
Well, with that being said, thank you guys for coming. Thanks to everybody that was in the audience. It was great to see all of you. How, Rosie B, Christine, Jen, everybody, Brother Bill, Tex. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. We really appreciate you guys coming and supporting us. Make sure you guys jump into the Discord and continue the conversation. And that's it. Have a great night, and keep on learning and keep on paying attention, because I think generational opportunities are coming for crypto. So, stay frosty, keep paying attention. Don't leave.
Yep. Great to see you guys. Had a great time. Even you, Mr. Musk.
I'm bullish on all this, man.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
We'll see you later.